All right, it is March 15th, 2021, and you are listening to the Resnauv Podcast. It has officially been 2 or 3 months ever since I last recorded. I think the last podcast I did was recorded in bed because my back was fucked up at the time. Well, my back is no longer fucked up. A lot of stuff has been happening, though, and I'd like to go over it here. I have no list in front of me. This is just going off the top of my head, so please excuse me if this is all over the place. But if you've listened to the Resnauv Podcast before, you know that it's all over the place, and that's just what you're going to get. So, thank you for tuning in. Let me tell you what I've been doing. All right, last month, like I said, it's March. What's the day today? Damn it, I just said it earlier. It's March 15th. Something crazy happened to me this month. This past, in these last 14 days, my YouTube channel has gone from 500 subscribers to 5,000 something subscribers, and it's pretty level now. It doesn't seem like it's not growing very quickly anymore like it was. But that was just in like 1 week it went up to 5,000 because I was in a MrBeast video doing my musical improv stuff for a talent show. Didn't win that talent show, but a lot of people support me, came over to my YouTube channel after seeing my name in that video and subscribed to me. It's crazy. I've been trying to figure out what to do with my content since then. How can I make the most of this? And I feel pretty happy with that. Now I kind of feel like I have to start like I've got my foot in the door to having a career on YouTube. There's clearly some things I've got to meet first, though. I've got to be able to get 4,000 watch hours on YouTube before I can monetize, and I got to get myself all organized and situated and have a steady release schedule. It doesn't necessarily have to be like super strict, but I do have to have it like regular videos coming out if I'm going to really look at this as a career path, and which I do. I do want this to be a career path. I do want, making content and stuff to be a career path, and doing improv to be a career for me. Even if that's entirely virtually, even if it's all on YouTube and if it's all in VRChat, that's that's honestly that's all I ever wanted. This podcast has mostly been about the McRib, and I'm going to try not to go there today. I just really felt like I needed to give this podcast a new episode today. And aside from the whole thing going on with the MrBeast thing that happened, me being in a MrBeast video, what has mostly been going on is I have gotten quite a bit of hardware. I was making music on VSTs going into my loop station and a voice effects pedal in the mix as well. I have some reason went against that. Like, I was pretty adamant about going with software only, kind of tired of hardware. I don't know. I've had this trend where, like, okay, so at first, growing up, I'm entirely software. Software is just what I can afford, easiest access to making music. FL Studio, for example. Not everybody acquired it legally exactly, but I have the full version now. I can say today that I own FL Studio Signature Edition with all plugins. I never thought I'd be able to say that. Now, I just... not because it's like extremely expensive or anything. I just didn't think I'd ever like buckle down and have the responsibility to actually buy it. So anyway, I have done that. But yeah, I've set the laptop aside now because I have all my instruments, all the stuff I use sitting on a desk here. And what first happened is I got the voice effects pedal. That was the first time I kind of went back to hardware, and I have that going into the loop station. Then I really wanted some effects on the way out that was easy to manipulate in an XY pad format. which of course would be the Chaos Pad. And so I ended up getting the Chaos Pad and throwing that on the end there. And when I got the Chaos Pad, I was like, man, that thing looks so lonely. And like, I really like playing with this Chaosillator app on my phone, and I just wanted like a full Chaosillator. So I got the Chaosillator to go with the Chaos Pad. And recently, well, when I got the Chaosillator, I still had the laptop set up, and I was using this software to run a MIDI keyboard into it and control it outside of the XY pad format. And so I really liked using it with the keyboard, and I had the money, and I have always wanted this other. I kind of wanted to get the laptop off my desk, and I had the money, and I kind of always wanted to get this other synth called a microKORG. And so I was like, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and get the microKORG and use that. Let it replace my usage of VSTs and use the MIDI out on it to control the Chaosillator, which required an extra cable from this place called RetroKits. So I got that. And so that was probably the final, well, almost the final piece of hardware. The last thing was since I had all this hardware sitting on my tabletop here, I was like, damn, I don't have any kind of way to trigger samples. And, oh man, I got to tell you the story about this thing called the SP404SX. I first got into the SP404SX. This is a sampler. This is the last thing that I bought and added to my hardware setup here, all right? So I first bought the SP404SX in the middle of last year because I was super into lo-fi, and I wanted to make a lot of lo-fi beats. Like, that was just... I just liked that lo-fi beats were essentially classic hip-hop beats. I didn't really care to make the beats all sleepy and dreamy sounding, though. I just wanted to make, like, classic hip-hop beats, and I wanted to do it in a way that felt completely raw and natural. And the SP404 is pretty much the best way to do that. I mean, you can do it with an MPC, but good luck getting an MPC at a cheap price today, like a classic one. And if you get a new one, they're pretty much just DAWs in a box. So you might as well just get like FL Studio and slap some kind of bit crushing plug-in on it. I got one called Decimort made by D16. Pretty fucking awesome. But anyway, this sampler, I bought it once. I wanted something else, and I sold it to get the money to buy something else. I regretted selling it, bought it again, wanted to get something else, not to replace the SP404. I wanted to get something else, so I sold it and got something else. Okay, one of those times that I sold it, I was like, okay, screw hardware, I'm going full software, and I went to Ableton and got like a launch pad, and I had like a Novation. Is it Novation? Yeah, I had a Novation launch key. Pretty much just all stuff to go with Ableton. I had like the launch control faders and knobs and everything. Pretty much everything set up for Ableton, but all from Novation because I was like a big Novation head and all that. So I went full software, and then I started to miss the SP404 again. And so this is the third time I've gotten the SP404. You know, I almost think that there's a fourth time in there, but this will be the third time. And now I'm at a point where I can say 100% for sure, absolutely, positively not going to sell this thing ever again because it's the gray model. It's the so they have like a couple models of the SP404SX out right now. They have the gray model, which kind of looks like the OG ones, but the OG ones have a little bit more of a shinier finish. And they have the SP404A for the IRA. It's like Roland's IRA line. They have like all these different synths that all... I mean, I was going to say, well, they connect to each other, but of course they connect to each other. Everything connects to each other with MIDI. But their SP404, the SP404A is made to look like the IRA line. It's like black and green. So this original like SP404SX kind of design, the price has gone up on them. And I will, if I sell it now, I'll probably never be able to get one again. Not one that's completely new and only owned by me anyway. Which I know I should like getting used gear, but I have a bad experience with used gear. Like I've tried so much used gear, and they almost always are missing things on them, are malfunctioning in some way, or they smell extremely like cigarette smoke, and it causes me to have bad allergies. So I avoid that. I avoid used gear. Unless I can like see that it's from a really, really reputable source, and that that there's a chance they may have cleaned it up themselves. Like for example, the micro Korg I got. This was open box. It was coming from a pretty reputable chain, so I don't feel bad about that. Oh, also I got a MIDI splitter that came from a. That one is used, and I got lucky on that one. That's pretty damn good buy. And I have a little mixer that was used, and it's a really good buy. And I use it like I'm using it right now. It's part of this podcast. But yeah. Anyway, that was my me rambling about all this music stuff for so long, and I don't know if it matters to you or not. What I just talked about, but I needed to put an episode out just to get back started in the way of things here on the podcast. And I am going to be getting a different service for podcasting. I may keep the Resnauv Podcast on the Anchor platform, and it'll push out to Spotify and pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcast at. But there's this other company or other service that will let me publish multiple podcasts. And I do have a lot of ideas for different improv type podcasts that I'd like to do. So that's something coming up. Anyway, if you're listening, if you found this by way of just clicking around on my channel and everything, and kind of checking out what I do and all that, thank you so much for, finding, stumbling on this podcast, finding it. And if you're part of the group that subscribed to me and this whole 5,000 subs things that I got recently, or if you're one of the OGs, thank you so much for the support all the time, all this time and this past week and whenever you came in. Thank you so much for being here. And I will have more podcasts regularly soon, and I am working out my schedule on how I'm going to keep doing this stuff. And I love doing this stuff. This is not a burden to me. It's just the part where I got to think how to organize it is the burden. But that's me with everything in life. As far as doing this, as far as doing the improv, doing the work, doing the, when I say the work, I mean like video editing and audio editing and stuff. That stuff does not bug me at all. I love this stuff. So thank you guys so much. And follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to me on YouTube if you're not subscribed already. And, follow this podcast. Check out my music here on Spotify. God, I have a TikTok now, and I don't know what I'm doing on that. I'm just being cringy on there, I guess. But hey, thank you guys, and I will catch you next time. Peace.